Hi. I do this every time. All right, so hi, my name is Mello, and yeah, I'm not even going to trivialize this more than it needs to be. I am just going to be talking, and I don't know, I'm gonna just be talking. I'm gonna just be sharing a little bit of what has happened to me in my life recently in hopes that maybe there's other people who may need to hear this, or who, I don't know, who experienced the same thing as me. But basically, I just turned 28 and I am starting my whole life over again in a different state. The great state of California. Reason being is because I'm originally from Maryland, and shit was just getting crazy. Like, I don't know, a lot of people I know in my life have lost their minds. They've lost their minds, and we all lose our minds sometimes. We all lose our minds. Like, Lord knows I have not been put in the best position to be able to be in my right mind for a lot of the last few years of my life. Y'all know this economy and this world been crazy. And specifically for me, the circumstances I was just given in my life just have not been the most ideal to be constructive and to build and to be stable within my 20s. Yeah, as convenient as it is for us to think that it's every man for themselves in every sense, it really isn't. Life is not built for everybody to have their own back all the time. It does make sense though. We are all individual people, and at the end of the day, we all came in here by ourselves. We all gonna go out by ourselves. So there is a time in life where we need to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps and make what we can make shake for our own selves. But life is also interconnected, and so a lot of the progress made in life for an individual can be through connections, whether that's with family or whether that's with friends. I have not had the best opportunity to be progressed in life through my family or through my friends. Not in a very, that's the word I'm looking for. Not in a very successful sense. I moved from Maryland to California because I just was tired of my lifestyle down there, my friends, my family. I was going through a really hard time and surrounded by people who, instead of to acknowledge that this is someone I know who is going through it right now, let me approach them with grace, let me handle them with care, let me be someone that they can either lean on for help or just for an ear to listen to. There were a lot of people who decided to use me to make them feel better about the positions they were in, because let's not get it twisted. The people I knew in my life were not millionaires, were not even hundredaires. We all struggling in this life. We're all getting by paycheck to paycheck a lot of times. But there's some people who make it more of an illusion and who rest in their positions being better by focusing on other people's downfalls and shortcomings. And I was just surrounded by a lot of people who did that. So yeah, I moved to California, and now I am in an apartment. Hold on, because there's something in my eye. It's something in my eye. I moved to California in October from Maryland, and I'm just basically starting my whole life over because the people I knew in Maryland were crazy. My family was crazy. My friends, they were crazy, but they got off on taking me and regarding me as crazy. We all have times when we're not in our right minds, but there are people who are not vocal about that and instead like to create an illusion. And I was surrounded by people who relied on illusion to make themselves not only appear better than other people who were also in like straining situations in their lives, but to make themselves also feel better than them. I'm a person who has always been very genuine and very honest. And so if I was struggling, I would say I was struggling. And there was times when I would verbalize that, and there were just, I don't know, people just be wanting to keep up with the Joneses a lot and don't be wanting to be real about a lot of situations. And that's what I had to realize, because I could tell that a lot of people surrounding me were also struggling, whether it be financially or whether it be mentally, but they just rested in illusion even more. And so I started realizing through certain like things that I would hear get back to me, or through certain subliminal ways people was talking when they thought I was fucking dumb or something, like, or through just assessing people myself, I started realizing that y'all are struggling mentally and financially too. You're just not trying to say nothing. There were just a lot of people resting in their illusion, honestly. And because I'm a person who would say, yeah, I'm struggling, or, you know, people would see that I was struggling and they didn't have hearts of like compassion or understanding, I started to realize the people I was around was making themselves feel better through my struggle. I would never be the type to do that. I'm the type to see someone struggling and be like, oh, okay, let me move with compassion with them, or let me see if I can be a help in an area where I'm not struggling as much as they're struggling. But yeah, there are a lot of people that took advantage of my mental state, of my compassion and my empathy, and I just got so tired of it. So before I moved, I stopped talking to a lot of my friends in Maryland. I just wanted to come to a place within myself where I could feel stable. A lot of the times, all I had in me was to just wake up and breathe and exist. I didn't have nothing else in me to do nothing. I did not have it in me to do nothing else but breathe. Do you hear me? And so I was also going to a job that I hated. I hated so much. And they were covertly bullying me and covertly doing their little gang tactics to basically sabotage me and my character at my job. So combined with no sort of financial help, and then working paycheck to paycheck like we're all working, and then my car would constantly break down. And so I was struggling with that too. And I couldn't live in my family house like a lot of people I knew in my early to mid 20s. And even now in my late 20s, I know a lot of people who have the privilege of living with their parents, but I never had that because my parents and my family is crazy. Particularly my mother. She is a lot to deal with, and I am of the mindset that you cannot heal where you were hurt. And because my mother has never taken the initiative to heal her emotional disposition over the years, and just how she enacts with her children, particularly me, the scapegoat, I knew I could not grow living in my house. My house is also not the size, it's not an ideal place to live. We'll just say that. So there were a lot of people who I realized had more options than me, more safety nets than I did, more emotional support or financial support than me, that still decided to judge me through the scope of their experience and their understanding. There's a lot of people who didn't have as high of a stakes in life than I did, but they would sit there and judge me. And because I wasn't in my right mind sometimes, where I just was always in an anxious state of mind, because I'm always trying to figure out how I'm gonna survive, how I'm gonna pay this rent by myself, my phone bill, car insurance, car repairs, everything. Like, everything just got so hard. And so it all came to like a boiling point. What do you mean 10 minutes? 10 minutes of what? Ah! Whew. 9 minutes? What that supposed to mean? Anyways.